First of all, thank you. He was inspirational in my teaching career, both him and Dr. Tom McCambridge, who is no longer with the program. Oh, yeah, it's still alive, just no longer with the program. My apologies. Sorry, Dr. Tom, wherever you're at. Great guys, they really taught us a lot. Two different, it's like yin and yang. We got a lot of this, a lot of that, and we'd have, discussions about the two of them and their different styles. And I don't know about you guys, but we were a family. We were definitely a family, and I bet you guys are. You guys spend way too much time with each other to not love, hate each other. There was definitely a lot of that, and I know that there's definitely the divide between the single subject and the multiple subject, but we won't get into any of that as well. But thank you, Dr. McCambridge. Thank you, Dr. Hillis. Thank you, everyone else that works with the program, and a special thank you to you guys for letting me be a part of this. I'm really excited, and I'm blessed. I know what it's like to sit in the seats in the chapel, but not so much this. But I know what it's like to sit here and be moments away from your first classroom. So I hope that all of you guys are applying and getting jobs, and there's a lot of great districts in the area. You really can't go wrong. Come down the hill, come down to Oxnard, see what it's like. Give back, make some change. I like it. Just a little plug, I have to do it. So my name is Aaron Ferguson, and I'm a teacher at Pacifica High School in Oxnard, and I want to share with you a story of success. But if it's a story of success, it has to be stories of failure as well. In my case, it was a series of failures. I almost dropped out of college my freshman year. I almost got kicked out of this program because of those quizzical remarks, I'm assuming. And I definitely got laid off from 2 teaching jobs before I got to Pacifica. So I have a series of failures, and if you want the details, we can talk about that. Happy hour, anytime, let me know. Let's talk about today. Today I'm the director of the Academy of Business at Pacifica High School, the absolute best academy in the area. I'm a little bit of a fan, and if you don't like that, that's okay. I love my students, and they do great things. The Academy of Business is a school within a school, and we are designed to equip our students with an entrepreneurial mindset and 21st century skills. That's a lot of mumbo jumbo. That's on our website. You can read that anytime you want. But let me break down what that really means. Okay? Too often we hear about how schools are not preparing our students for the real world, not soft skills, not time management skills, not collaborative skills, or any other variety of skills that really are applicable to the real world. Well, in the Academy of Business, we call it the AOB. In the AOB, we do that. We definitely do that. Our students come equipped with all of those skills, and they are ready for the next adventure, whatever it may be. We encourage college, but we don't push it. It's up to them. All of our students take a highly rigorous, normal slate of classes, including anything that's college competitive, but they also take a career technical pathway. This is becoming very popular. You'll hear a lot about it in the next couple of years if you're not hearing about it already. Our pathway is in entrepreneurship. So they take a 3-course model: Intro to Entrepreneurship, Entrepreneurship, and Social Entrepreneurship. We have to use the word entrepreneurship in the name of each one of them to get funding. So there you go. Our goal is really to remove theory as much as possible. We try and get, right to practice, because theory is fun, and we were talking about this just a moment ago, real world application. We want to make sure that we bring all of that right into the classroom so they understand it right away, and that they're doing something. And through this program, we've seen a ton of traditional success. Our standardized test scores, you're familiar with that, I'm sure. We lead our district, no question. Our college acceptance rate doubles our school's average. Our A3G rate is 80%, and our graduation rate is 100%. We've never let a kid not graduate, and we're not going to. But the leadership of the Academy of Business and I, we don't really focus on these metrics. They're not the reasons why we do what we do. What we do is we really focus on the character development of a student. And that really brings up a really tough question. How do you develop character? And I think I have a possible answer, so I want to share it with you. I have a student of mine. Her name is Louisa. She's a wonderful person, and I wish all of you could meet her. She's going to change the world. She's a senior in the academy, and she is obviously one of the best success stories that we've had. I first taught Louisa when she was a 9th grader in my earth science class. Now you probably know Louisa. You probably have a student like her. She was extremely timid and quiet, and almost so much that you wouldn't recognize that she was there. She was just floating through. She'd do all the work, or most of the work. She'd do it with a pretty good quality, enough. She would be behaved. And in a freshman class, you have freshman boys, and they're like alien species. And so the girls tend to kind of hide in the middle. They can do that. And Louisa definitely hid. She was able to hide. And that was a fault of mine to let that happen. But at the end of the year, she'd received average grades both semesters. She did something that kind of surprised me. She applied for the Academy of Business. And I have to admit that I did sell this program to all of our freshmen. They have to apply into it. That it's designed around like a salesperson's attitude and the ability to get out there and strut your stuff. So it's not for the timid. Additionally, I was taking over the program at that point, and it was in terrible disarray. There was a lack of quality, and the reputation was terrible. So we had to she had to kind of take a leap of faith in me and trust me on this one, but she did. Louisa joined her sophomore year, and she was still timid. We saw that. But about halfway through the semester is when I started noticing that she was changing. She was developing a voice, she was developing a sense of duty, and she felt empowered. I liked that. So let me tell you what Louisa and the Academy has done this year, as her senior year. Louisa and a team of Academy seniors started a program that teaches fun science lessons to our special education students. Too often times we see special education be considered a separate school. That's inappropriate. There could be a lack of interaction between our general education and students and our special education students. We need to fix that. So we empowered a group of senior students to develop short, fun science lessons, then have them plan them, budget them, get them funded by local people, and then work with the special education teacher regarding the details and plan and execute the plan. It's always been a fun period for both our students as well as our special education students. They've had a blast. All of this stuff was Louisa's idea. She just came to me one day and said, hey, we need to do something. We need to change this. So we did. She owned it, she operated it, and she's currently in the process of handing it over to one of our juniors in the academy so that it can become a legacy program that she created. Louisa also had a leadership role in our recent memorial for the Stoneman Douglas shooting. There was a lot of energy on campus due to this, and I'm sure you know that. And we wanted to make sure, or the seniors, they wanted to make sure that the energy was redirected in the right way, because it could become a bad situation. So what they did was they planned an excellent memorial, and they took the focus away from being something negative into, let's pay respects to those who have fallen. She was also in charge of that. Louisa's biggest moment was during the Thomas fires. I'm sure all of you had some effect by this, and I'd love to share her story. Pacifica High School was shut down and designated as a possible evacuation center. We had no school, air quality was terrible. So I got on the phone with our principal, and I started discussing how are we going to feed these people and clothe these people and do all this stuff. So we need to start a donation center. What happened over the next 2 days was astounding. We started out with a couple cases of water and ended with $250,000 in aid. What was even more amazing was the following day, we were able to give it all away. We gave it to a bunch of families in need. We had students everywhere. This entire thing was student run. There was families that lost everything, and our goal was to just give them a shred of hope. So they'd stop by and we'd fill their cars with everything we possibly could. And I'm sure there might be people in this room that helped out during that, because I actually recognize a good amount of faces here. So thank you. The entire donation and distribution center was student run. Students were collecting donations, organizing donations, driving truckloads of aid into Ventura, Santa Paula, and Carpinteria, and they were also acting like personal shoppers for all the affected families. Louisa was again running the show. She was there from sunup to sundown, and she was there to help those in need. She speaks Spanish, and in our area, we definitely need that as bilingual is a huge skill, and I support all of us learning that too, because we need to be able to provide that. Louisa was in her element. She felt empowered to provide aid. I know at this time you might be thinking, great, you had a student who matured and became an activist leader. You're right. How does this connect to new teachers? My answer is the 3 E's: environment, equipment, and empower. So let's break it down. The first E, environment. As a student teacher, I guarantee that you had conversations regarding a positive classroom environment. Heck, if you had to do any of those wonderful TPAs, I'm pretty sure there was questions all about environment, but don't quote me because I've erased that from my memory, okay? 100%. And full disclosure, again, I failed TPA too. Anyone else? No, I'm just kidding, don't raise your hand. All right, TPAs, man. All right, here's the thing. That's not the environment I'm talking about. It's not the seating arrangement. It's not the seating chart or the student work on the walls or how fancy your bulletin boards are, elementary school teachers. I know you guys like your bulletin boards. The environment of my class is based on failure. It has nothing to do with the physical objects. It's just about failure. We fail fast and we fail hard. We fail so hard that we try to break the system. That's our goal. Too many educational environments are based on you get one chance to do this, so you better take it seriously. That sounds more like a classroom dismanagement tool than anything real world that I know of. The real world is full of second chances. Maybe there's a penalty for being late or a second try, but you still get access. Make your classroom the same way. Maybe a kid takes a test. If they want to take it again, they can, but the highest grade is 89%. Scaffold it that way. Failure. We need to teach our students how to fail for their benefit, fail for their knowledge. I don't know about you, but I broke a lot of things when I was a young kid. I love taking things apart. I was just really not good at putting them back together, you know? But give it a little time and some practice, I was able to start doing that, and now that's my mindset. I'm always taking things apart and putting things back together. I enjoy that, okay? But it came through practice and failure. We don't design our classrooms this way, and we don't design our attitudes as teachers this way. And it's okay that we failed, but we just have a chance to fix it now. Our second E is equipment. And I know this starts a small riot when I start talking about it, because I hear, oh yeah, if I only had a class set of laptops, I'd change the entire world. Or my school district is just too broke to buy any good technology, or they don't buy the right stuff, or we bought the wrong website, or oh my gosh, all the different technology things. You might be surprised, but I'm not talking about that. The equipment I want to provide for my students is time. Time. Have you seen some of these kids' schedules? And I'm a high school teacher, so I mean, I can't speak to elementary, but I will say that I'm astounded by their schedules. I am blown away. I look at they tell me what they got to do. I'm like, I thought I was busy. But they have so much stuff on their plates. And one of the things they never get is time to digest. They're bombarded with content in classrooms. They're bombarded with content in their social media and on the internet. They never get any time to rest. As teachers, we need to look at our curriculum and find the fluff or the busy work. You have it in there. And we need to condense it down to a manageable amount to provide these kids with some time. You might be amazed what happens with time. On your first occurrence, it might become, oh, that's cool. That they like that. But after a short bit, any kid given time gets bored. And if you get bored, you get curious. If you get curious, you start learning new things. That's the path we want to take with this. The trick is to focus the student on learning something new, like a skill or something that gives them the time to and then a skill or something, and give them the time to research it. These kids love to research stuff. I'll be in mid-lecture, and they'll be talking about something. They're like, Ferguson, I just looked it up on a website. It says right here it's not true. It's like, oh, well, I guess I'm not true. The internet says it, Happens all the time. Give them chances to research it. Let them use their tools. You might be surprised what happens when students are given time and they get a little curious. The last one is empower. This is the hardest one, or it can be the easiest one because it might just fall into your lap. I teach an entrepreneurship class, social entrepreneurship and intro to entrepreneurship. And we talk about marketing a lot throughout all of our courses. And there's an adage that says, sex sells. Now, the thing is this, that's not true anymore. We don't utilize that as nearly as much. What now sells is activism. You can find that throughout all of marketing. Activism sells. That's why companies like Tom's Shoes is so successful. Buy a pair of shoes, we'll give a pair of shoes away. Green industries, you're doing something great for the environment. Now, why is this? It's because we're all a little bit lazy and we're also feeling a little bit guilty, and it's just a really easy way of justify the spending, right? Oh, I'm doing something for the children. It's good. I'm buying some shoes for them, stuff like that. Now, we try and incorporate that mindset and understand that activism is incredibly important. And that's the basis of our social entrepreneurship class. But there's a part of each of us that becomes happy when we can do things for other people. And honestly, I'm guessing that impulse is the reason why you're sitting in those seats today. Because you want to do things for other people. Why is that not designed into your classroom? Your students want to do the same thing. They want to provide value. Design your curriculum to be relevant into the world they live in. Don't make it theoretical. Actually do something that provides value. Find a cause locally or even globally, then have your students create impact. The empower phase is the culmination of environment and equipment. Through an environment based in failure, we can equip students with the time to develop new skills and empower them to provide value to the greater world. So I want you to think back to Louisa. Because we've been practicing and failing at the 3 model for the previous couple years, she was equipped with the tools to be an effective leader during the Thomas Fire. The entire school came to her for direction. I'm big on letting students lead. It's great. Why am I going to try and do it? They can do it better than me. They can figure out how to do it faster. Give them the tools and give them the time to do so, and they do it. I can say without a doubt that Louisa's character was developed and empowered to create change. That timid young 9th grader had blossomed into a young, powerful woman. Funny thing about Louisa is if you grab a copy of the Ventura County Star this upcoming Sunday and you turn to the centerpiece, I'm told there's going to be a wonderful article about her from Alexa Delangelo about Louisa and all the good that she's created. And I'm extremely proud of her. So this is not going unnoticed by all. Excuse me, sorry about that. This is about the time when you feel good about what I said, but then you qualify it as, he just doesn't understand the needs of my students. I hear that often. And, he has a select group of students that doesn't have to deal with troubled students. I hear that too all the time. Or some other excuse. And I will remind you, Pacifica High School is the lowest socioeconomical high school in the county. We have approximately 90% free and reduced, 90% Latino. And the majority of our students would fit into a category of either ELL, free and reduced, homeless, special education. The list goes on. And I have a firm belief that if you develop relationships with students and if you value them, all those labels you put on them, they don't matter. Oftentimes they hurt more than they help. So don't look for these hurdles because they will find you. We will have enough hurdles just as teachers. So all this being said, this is a story of success. And this past year I've had some, personally, my wife and I, who I believe just showed up. Back there, okay. We were able to buy a beautiful home. We're very excited about it. And even more awesome, we welcomed in our 11-month-old son, Vinny, and he's back there as well, dressed adorably. I'll parade him around, don't worry. I'm proud. He's adorable, and he loves puppies and pancakes, just so you know. Professionally, my life changed on October 12th when I was surprised with the Milken National Educator Award and a check for $25,000, which was not too bad either. This is a recognition that cannot be applied for. They find you. I still don't know how they found me. I know nothing about the process. They don't tell you. It's top secret. They selected me because of my innovative style of teaching and ability to bring the real world into the classroom as well as the classroom out to the real world. That's the missing key right there. This is not a Lifetime Achievement Award, and they made that extremely clear to me. This is specifically given to early to mid teachers who show promise of creating mass impact. Now, I always get asked about the money. The money was nice, and I'll get to that in a bit, but it was not the best part. The Milken Family Foundation has introduced me to a network of professionals and high-level teachers across the country. It has changed my definition of reaching out and what is possible in a classroom. That is the true power of this, that is the true power of this recognition, and I am grateful for it. So back to the money. My wife and I were fortunate enough not to desperately need the money. So we decided to use it to seed a project that we've been passionate for a long time. We started a nonprofit called the CADE Group, and CADE is dedicated to finding high school age girls of promise from traditionally labeled low-income and low-privileged backgrounds and providing them with an entrepreneurial toolkit and high-level mentoring so they can break down those barriers. We are currently in the design phase, but should be rolling out our first event by the end of this year. We like to stay busy, so we're going to. And I like to close with a thought. Oftentimes, when I'm speaking with teachers, I hear a phrase, "I can't do that. I'm just a teacher." That word "just" really irritates me. I'm a teacher, but I'm not just a teacher. Throughout all the lessons I've learned, I've made it a goal to maximize our outreach through the use of social media, websites, videos, and etc. It's important. You need to give your kids work life beyond your classroom. Some of you will do this, and I highly recommend it. I also highly recommend using social media to connect with celebrities, politicians, other famous people, people that your students might know. We made a video for the Thomas Fire, and it's on my Twitter, and I encourage you to check it out. It was student-run, student-made, everything about it is student. We also entered it on Ellen's 1 Million Acts of Good. That video made it onto her website, and the students felt validated. It gave them purpose. It gave them this, we did something amazing. You cannot create that in your classroom without the outside real world. You're important, but it's Ellen. I mean, come on, you know. I want to remind you, you are not just a teacher, and you cannot allow yourself to act that way or even think that way. Because don't forget, you are a role model. And if you're going to put labels or boundaries on yourself like, I'm just a teacher, then your students will be able to do the same. I can't do it because I am Mexican. I can't do it because I am just a female. These are feelings as common today as ever. And as teachers, we need to be the leaders who break down these labels and barriers so our students can do the same. Thank you for having me. And congratulations.